Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-dit-dit-dit-da. Here to tell you about a field day event that occurred long ago when I was maybe 18 years old, 17 or 18 years old. We always had our field day in Rochester, Minnesota at a place called Assisi Heights, which was the hill on which stood what we called the Mother House, which was in effect a convent. And somehow or another, a number of these sisters got involved in ham radio. It caught on at that place, and they let us use their apple orchard on their property as our field day location. We always set our CW station up in the back of a big old truck, one of those semi-trailer trucks. We just took the trailer and set it up there. And some years it got kind of stormy at night. Other years it was just cold and clear. And there was always some issue, though, something that put a little spice into it. One year we had these huge June bugs that flew all over the place. And one year we had a pretty heavy thunder shower. And I was operating the CW station at that time. And the thunder shower began. And of course nowadays I would disconnect the antenna and turn the radio off, ground everything, and do everything I could to protect my equipment and myself from destruction at the hands of lightning during one of those storms. Well, this particular episode, I continued to operate right into the storm until sparks were actually flying from the back of the antenna tuner, the transmatch that connected the dipole antenna, the balanced dipole, to the radio. And I continued to operate until finally somebody suggested that maybe the storm had gotten so heavy it was time to shut the station down. Oh, young foolish radio hams, in my case WA0 Ocean Kilo Victor. Those were my call letters back then. And nowadays, that's just unthinkable. What happens to a guy as he gets older? Does he get more common sense? Or does he just get less willing to take risks that make for interesting experiences? I'm sure that experience would have been considerably different had lightning actually struck that dipole antenna. But never mind, here I be to tell you about it. And to all you radio hams out there who like to operate field day, if there's a thunderstorm within about 10 miles of you, shut that station down and ground everything. Now, of course, we have our cell phones and our wireless internet and everything, and we can look at the radar and see them coming. Back then, it was a little more primitive. We had to wait until it was there. But I waited well past that point. And I'm still here, so I can tell you about it. Just a story, nothing more or less, just a story from back in the days when ham radio was a little more interesting, it seemed like, than it is today. But then again, there are a lot of new things in ham radio. Every receiver is far more sensitive, both in terms of ability to receive signals and ability to be destroyed by nearby thunder showers. But ham radio is really a much more diverse and fascinating hobby today than it was then. But lightning will still do the same thing to you today as it would have then. If it hits that antenna and you're on that radio, you better know how to pray real fast. Stan Gibilisco, W1GV, saying 73, which means best regards in ham radio jargon, and so long, which means, in my native language, di-di-di-da-di-da.